Hey guys, Scott Patton here, and today I have got my top 5 picks for the month of July. You know, it's warming up out there, and you know, some of your lakes you're gonna have to fish deep, you know, all the way around. But then a lake like Chickamauga here that I live on, you know, we can catch fish in the grass, shallow, or we can go out and fish deep if that's what you prefer to fish. But I'm gonna bring you what again, my top 5 picks for the month of July that I would have tied on anywhere you go, and I'll kind of explain the areas and type of places I would fish these baits. Okay, so I guess with it being morning, I'm gonna start with what I would probably start the morning out with, and that's going to be with the buzzbait, you guys. You know, a buzzbait is a great bait. You can go in the back of the creeks, you can fish this on the main lake, you can fish it over grass, you can fish it over treetops. It'll call up some big fish, quality fish, early in the mornings. I would probably fish this maybe the first 30 minutes and an hour. If you got storms in the area all day long, a lot of times this bait here can catch fish for you all day long, especially if you're fishing like this guy hydrilla and stuff like that. So, and I know some of you be fishing tidal waters and stuff like that, you know, when the tide's moving. That buzzbait, of course, this time of year will catch a lot of quality fish early in the morning. And again, like I said, guys, don't forget to fish this thing during the storm or rainy weather you got there on the lake, because it will catch some quality bass. This one here is white chartreuse, good all the way around. Sometimes you go white, sometimes you go just a solid black. I like a gold blade most of the time, but I will also use painted blades on a buzzbait sometimes, you guys. Sometimes a white blade on a white buzzbait, or a black blade on a black skirted buzzbait works really well. You probably want to put a trailer hook on it. I don't have one on this one here. I just pulled this out of the box because I wanted to show you that probably the buzzbait is one of the easiest baits to use, and it will catch fish anywhere in the country, I promise you. So you'll want to make sure you throw this on a usually a 7-foot rod. I'm going to throw it on 17 or 20 pound test mono. I know some of you probably throw it on braid, but I like a mono because it's a little bit more giving. That way I don't take the bait away from a lot of fish. So I prefer that mono over braid myself. Now you may prefer braid, and that's cool with that too, you guys. But anyway, number 1 pick is going to be your buzzbait. All right, second I'm going to go with probably my jackhammer. You know, I can cover a lot of water with this. I can fish around docks, I can fish around grass, I can fish on riprap. Even though it's July, like I said, you know, a lot of fish come up shallower to feed at night. So early in the morning, a lot of these fish are still going to be shallow in these areas, and I like that jackhammer. If you're fishing a river system lake and it's July, you could probably catch fish on this thing throughout the whole day, especially if you had current or if you had a good cloudy rainy day. But this bait right here will catch a lot of fish for you, and it's just hard for me to go fishing without it in July. Shad pattern most of the time. I may go to the green pumpkin or chartreuse if I'm fishing a lake or an area that seems to have more bluegill in it. But the jackhammer, again, I'm going to throw it on a 7-foot rod. I'm going to use 17 or 20 pound test fluorocarbon, cigar fluorocarbon with this bait. I want it to get down, and that fluorocarbon is invisible to the fish, especially if you're fishing a lake that's going to be clear water. And sometimes you may want to fish this thing fast. Sometimes you may want to slow it down if you're fishing over grass and stuff like that, and let it hit that grass and jerk it free if you hit it, but keeping it close to the grass that's submerged under the water that you're fishing can be key. And you can fish this thing around laydowns, stumps. It's fantastic. And again, like I said, riprap, it can be a really, really good bait, especially after that first hour or two in the morning where they may not hit that top water. So make sure you have one of those tied on too, guys. And as far as the trailer with this, I'll use different type of trailers. This is actually a fluke. You know, you may want to go something with a paddle tail. You may, if you're fishing more dingy water, and you may want to go something a little bit thicker, swimming like that. Yakko that Yamamoto makes is another great bait on these jackhammers too. So if I'm in real clear water, I'll go more the clear colors. more streamlined tail on it, because it looks more like a shad and it's easier to fool them fish with it, okay? All right, number 2, I'm gonna go with fishing offshore later in the day, or if your fish are offshore already, you may start the morning out with that, you guys. I don't care if you got ledges on the lake, or if you're fishing long tapering points, you're fishing creek channel ledges, or down the middle of a creek channel or bluff walls. Anytime in the summertime, a deep diving crankbait can catch fish for you, and you can cover a lot of water with it fast. Of course, I live on Chickamauga, and I fish all up and down the Tennessee River, and we got ledges on all the lakes down through there. I don't care if it's Wheeler, Pickwick, Kentucky Lake, Chickamauga, Gunnersville. They all have ledges on it, and that's where this deep diving crankbait comes in really play. I would throw this thing on usually 12-pound test. Sometimes you may need to go to 10-pound test, get more depth out of it. This is a Lucky Craft 6XD, and both of these colors are great colors. It's a chartreuse shad in my left hand. Of course, this is blue and chartreuse in my right hand. Early in the morning, cloudy days, this bait here will probably outfish the one on the left. But if it's sunny, clear, and you've got clear water, then you're going to want to go with the chartreuse shad or shad patterns. And also this blue chartreuse works great in stained water, because it's way more visible in those colors. Even just water like that just may have a little bit darker color to it, okay guys? I like throwing this bait on like a 7'4", 7'6" cranking rod. That way I can make long casts. And if I make a long cast and that fish hits that bait while it's way out there, that longer rod helps me get a better hook up and better control that fish. And that's why I like that longer rod with these baits. If you go to a smaller rod with these guys, especially a 7-foot rod, and it doesn't have enough backbone to it, you're just going to wear yourself out trying to crank these things. So having a proper rod will make a big difference on how long you'll fish this bait. Sometimes you may want to burn it, you stop and crank it, get it digging to the bottom, bumping around stumps, around rock and stuff like that. But this bait will catch fish for you, I promise you, in the month of July. All right, that's number 3. Number 4, I'm going to go with my big worms. I use a lot of different ones, you guys. This is a Zoom Old Monster in blue fleck, one of my favorites. You can see that bait right there. It's got a lot of action in it. You can throw this thing on a say like a ½ ounce or 3/4 ounce poke tungsten. Most of the time I throw it on a ½ ounce, because that worm is more streamlined. It will sink, it will go down there a lot deeper. I'll throw it on a wobble head. It can be real good like that. And you also can Carolina rig this big worm, you guys. This thing just flat out catches fish. It's a great worm. I will also go to a bigger worm. And again, if you're fishing in the Tennessee River lakes, or if a lot of you people fishing lakes with the big, been a lot of worm pressure, a lot of times going to this real big worm. This is a Strike King's bull worm. It's a great bait. You want to make sure you use a hook big enough for it. A lot of times I will go with a 3/4 ounce pro tungsten with that versus a ½ ounce, because you're going to have more buoyancy in this worm, and that way you can get that bait down there faster and keep it on the bottom. So again, with this worm here, I will normally, the bull worm, I'm going to use a 3/4 ounce pro tungsten. And then with the Old Monster, which is about a 10.5 inch worm, I'm going to go with the ½ ounce pro tungsten, you guys. And you can see the difference in the worms. And like I said, you got to think more plastic, more buoyancy, the higher it's going to float. And that's why I'll go to that bigger worm, so I can get it down there to those brush piles or stumps or mussel bed that I may be fishing offshore with that big worm. All right, so that is number 4. Now with the baits, I mean with line and stuff like that, with these worms, you guys, about a 7'4" PAL rod, endurance rod is probably what I use most of the time with these rods. I'm going to go with something with a little bit more backbone, so I get a good hook set, penetrate that hook through the worm and into the fish's mouth. So you want a pretty heavy action rod. Everybody's a little bit different on that, but I just like having backbone on that, because when I set the hook, I want to bury it. I don't want that fish to come up out of deep water with the hook halfway in it, stuck in its mouth, and throw that worm. Because believe it or not, you know, these worms are heavy, so they have weight on them, and they can use that weight of the worm to throw that worm or throw that hook out of their mouth. So proper hook, proper weight, proper rod. I'm going to usually throw this on 15-pound test. Seaguar fluorocarbon works about perfect for this. It's not too heavy, not too light, and I still hook a big fish and get him to the boat, you guys. So that is number 4 on month of July. And I can't leave out the old drop shot, of course, in summer months. You know, I've got a little 4-inch worm on here. You'll go to 4-inch. I'll use a longer. Robo worms work real good. Both of these morning dawn shades. Green pumpkin can be good right there too. But I'm going to use this again on points. I'm going to fish on ledges, on the lakes that you got ledges and stuff like that. You know, you guys, if you have lakes that don't have ledges, you may look for humps, high spots in the lake and stuff like that this time of year. And also, if you got bluff walls, I'm telling you what, this drop shot will catch a lot of fish on those bluff walls. They get shaded, and they'll fish back up in that shade in summertime. And I'll run and look for the walls. You know, I won't just fish in the bluff walls. I will go and look for the ones that do create shade at that time, you know, at midday time of the day, because those fish knows those areas, and that's their home, so they know where to go. So those bluff walls that has the shade is going to catch you more fish and probably usually bigger fish. But if you're fishing offshore ledges and stuff like that, again, I've worn them out so many times throwing a drop shot. So you're going to want to have that drop shot rigged up, you guys, for the month of July. You know, hopefully this will help you guys out for this month of July. It's hot out there. One big key things, you can't sleep in. You need to get up and get out there early in the morning. Catch these fish a lot of times. That first 2 or 3 hours a day will make the whole day. If you're fishing more Tennessee River lakes, current's real key. Of course, morning's key. And also the afternoons and stuff like that, they will be generating more electricity because people have those air conditioners cranked up and stuff like that, so that creates more current in these river systems. And then the afternoon bite can be really good for you guys as well. So hopefully this will help you out for the month of July. And I guide on Chickamauga. If you're looking for a guide trip, you want to get down here and do some fishing, whether it's offshore or shallow, we can catch them both ways all through the summer. Give me a shout. Information's on the bottom of the page there. And I appreciate it, guys. Be sure to subscribe. I really appreciate that. Leave me a comment. Let me know how you're doing on your fishing. And if you see me on the water, give me a shout. And we will see you guys next time. Good fishing, everybody.